Hi everyone, welcome to Awww, the show that gives you kitchen hacks for a pandemic world. Today we're going to talk about how to extend your vegetables and to reduce your waste. So come on and let's take a look at what we're doing. So, have you ever realized you bought too many vegetables for what you're going to use and you end up watching them almost go bad and end up in the trash? Today we're going to tell you how you can extend the use of your vegetables even if they're coming to the end of their lives and then reduce your waste. To begin with, I have a couple of hacks myself that I keep under my belt, and they don't include right now freezing and blanching or canning. These are some things that absolutely everybody can do. There are only a few vegetables that you can freeze straight into a bag and into the freezer. One of those is onions. Onions we use for so many things, and unfortunately occasionally maybe we buy a whole bag of them, even if it's a 3-pound bag, and end up with a lot left over. In this case, what I've done is taken my onion that is close to its prime, but it's still going to be fine, and I've diced it up, preparing it to go into our frozen onion bag. I did a lot of this earlier, well, on the 21st of March to be specific, and I'm just going to add this little handful in here and pop this right back into the freezer. The second way you can extend your vegetable use is to save the bits and pieces. What do I mean by that? Well, tonight we're going to be having some au gratin potatoes, and what I need for those are some sliced onions. But I inevitably, regardless of what I make with onions, have these ends left over. I mean, honestly, I can get a little bit more off that, but for these purposes, I'm just going to show you what I do. These are great in any stock. You don't have to throw them away. Even if you get down to the very nub, there'll be a little bit in there that'll be flavorful enough to help any stock. I have what's called my vegetable bag. I have 3 or 4 of these running at any given time. And I just put those end pieces in here. I'm making carrots tonight as well. So in doing so, I'm going to peel them. And of course, I'm going to cut the ends off before I cut it up. And what I have remaining are just bits and pieces, like you see here. Sometimes I do put the peels into the vegetable bag. Sometimes I don't. Right now, because things are a little wonky, I'm keeping these out and feeding them to the dogs as snacks. It's a super healthy snack. You're totally not wasting anything, and your animals are going to love you for it. Whatever you do with animals, though, make sure you check to make sure the food that you want to feed them is not going to hurt them. Carrots is one of those that won't. So, here we go. Carrots in the bag. Even vegetables like jalapeno peppers, I save end pieces. Now, I don't mind the heat, and it doesn't give it that much spice, but I will also, when I clean it, because we do like this spice, and because capsaicin is good for you. A little bit of heat helps to boost your immune system and things of that nature. I put those right in the bag as well. In the same way, when I get down to these little tiny ends of garlic, I literally will just throw them in there if I'm not going to use them or have plenty of them. And voila, you have the start of a really great veg basket. And don't forget the herbs. Herbs come in large amounts, especially things like cilantro and Italian parsley and curly parsley, and they won't last forever. We don't use them a lot. You can literally just plop those along with the stems that have a ton of flavor into that bag. When you clean Brussels sprouts, what you often find is that the outer petals come right off. This is because you cut the bottom and it loosens that up. But we often just throw these petals away. Don't do that anymore. There's no need. Put them in a little baggie, like I do here, and add them to your green salad, or make a fresh, delicious Brussels sprout petal salad for yourself. Currently, I'm actually even saving the outer pieces of onions. And there's a reason for this. Years ago, my grandfather used to color his eggs using onion peels. I'm gonna do the same thing. I don't typically put these in my stock bag or my frozen vegetable bag, my vegetable end bag, but because we're coming up to Easter and I've never done this before, I do wanna see what this turns out like. So look for a little bonus episode of Awww soon. So now, what do you do when your vegetable bits and pieces and ends bag is full? Well, easily you make stock. You can add this mixture to chicken and make a chicken stock with it. This is the simplest thing that you can do, is to make a vegetable stock. Literally empty your bag or bags into a large pot, put water over them to just under the top of the vegetables. Then you're gonna bring it to a boil, reduce it to simmer, and have it cook for about an hour to an hour and a half, 2 hours max on low. It shouldn't be in a rapid boil. We started this about a half an hour ago. So we're gonna go ahead and finish this in about another 40 minutes or so. Once you're done boiling this out, we'll show you how to strain it and freeze it. Hey everyone, once you get to about an hour and a half or so, when your stock has been simmering, you can take it off the heat and remove all the big chunks. I put it into a sieve here, a strainer, and I press down lightly. And that's to get out any of the extra juice and the good flavor that's left over in these veg. Once the big chunks are taken out and you've passed the rest of the stock through the strainer, what I do is I take a reusable cheesecloth doubled over, place it in the strainer, and then I strain the liquid. This takes out all the little micro chunks that are gonna make it a little bit, nasty. And you can see all of those in there. I'm gonna go ahead and do this twice. When your stock is cooled down and you're ready to put it in a container, you can do this a couple of different ways. You can use a deli-sized container. You can use a regular Tupperware container that is freezer friendly. You can also use a freezer bag like I'm going to do here. You could use also a mason jar. If you're using mason jars, I don't recommend that you put them in the freezer. I haven't had great luck keeping them from breaking that way. So I choose to use a freezer bag. Lays flat, freezes, it's absolutely space efficient. To make it simple, I put my freezer bag in this deli container or a container or a glass like this. Keeps it open, and then it allows me to just go ahead and pour the liquid into the bag. I'll be able to put all of this in here. There we go. And this is what I have remaining. Thank you, stagehand. Is my delicious looking vegetable stock. I try to fold a little bit of the air out so that it gets as flat as possible. And this I can lay in the freezer as is. And that's it. So we have gone over a couple of different ways to save your veg pieces. One, go ahead and put them in a big bag and save them for stock and make that stock. Two, let's say they're the petals of Brussels sprouts. Save those petals and you can either use them in a saute or in a salad by themselves if you'd like to create that. You can also take onions just before they're ready to not be so great, cut them up into dice and put them in the freezer. Use them for another time. And what you can use that stock for is pretty universal. Instead of boiling your potatoes in water, use this flavorful stock and boil it in that, or your rice, or your quinoa. And of course, it's a great base for any kind of vegetable soup. Even add meat to it instead of using a traditional meat stock. Until next time, this is Lauren from Graffiti Cuisine and Awww, kitchen hacks for a pandemic world. See you next time. Have any comments, have any suggestions or questions? Reach out to us on our YouTube channel, Graffiti Cuisine, underneath our... Do you have any questions for us? Have you tried any of our hacks and want to show us your success? let us know at graffiticuisine@gmail.com or comment underneath our series. Looking forward to seeing you again. This is Lauren from Awww.